Did you hear that in California they raised the minimum wage to $20 an hour? While that sounds really good for workers and they definitely need higher pay, unfortunately this has led to a spike in inflation. And how do we track this inflationary data? The Fed has a way of doing it, but is it accurate? And is there maybe a better way to do that? And there is a project I'm excited to tell you about today that does exactly just that. This is Crypto Simulation Theory, and I'm the Gaussian Snake. Please join our free Telegram group, the Snake Pit, for regular market updates, the latest alpha, and the friendly community of like-minded individuals. We were talking about this coin just last night, right as it launched. In fact, we watched this big green candle happen in real time, even though none of us could buy any of this, at least those of us in the US. But I want to talk to you about the project, Truflation, or TRUF as the token is called, and get into all the details about it so you can make an informed decision about whether you should buy this token. And for full disclosure, I do own this token. I did buy some of it yesterday and a little bit more today. So just keep that in mind when you make your decision. All information in this video is purely educational and none of it should be taken as financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Now, as of the making of this video, we are literally on the eve of finding out CPI, or Consumer Price Index data from the last quarter. So what is the CPI and what does it have to do with Truflation? Well, the CPI helps give us a measure of inflation relative to a weighted average of a market basket of consumer goods and services purchased by households. And the construction of this basket is kind of like based on very specific factors that don't take into account all of the things that go into household spending. So the consumer price index is basically a ratio of the cost of that market basket in a current period divided by the cost of the basket in a base period, C naught, and then you multiply that by 100 and it gives you a ratio that's the CPI, and it's supposed to give us a seemingly accurate measurement of inflation, but does it really? I love Truflation's Twitter. They've got some funny stuff on here. This is a repost. It says Truflation tracks over 18 million items compared to the BLS, or Bureau of Labor and Statistics, measly 80,000. So Truflation is kind of like the new Chainlink of this cycle. Crypto influencer Brian Jung actually called it that. And you can see here that here's a nice summary on their Twitter. What is Truflation? It's decentralized infrastructure for real-world assets, indices, and inflation. Has 18 million plus data points, 60 plus providers. They're working on becoming more decentralized day by day. Censorship resistant and transparent, and it's backed by Chainlink and Coinbase. I am super bullish on Chainlink, always have been, and Coinbase is killing it right now with their base protocol. So that's a big endorsement right there. Now, Truflation itself has been around for a lot longer than its token. Token's only been out for like a little over a day now. But you can see here is one of their dashboards that gives you their measurement of the US inflation index, and it's a daily Truflation rate. And this data is pulled from price feed oracles through a relatively decentralized network of nodes, and they work together with Chainlink to collect the most transparent and up-to-date data. And so you can see here the government reported rate of inflation is 3.2%. Their daily Truflation rate is 1.78%, and you can see how inflation has in fact come down quite a bit. And you can see the percentage change over the day. And if you scroll down, you can actually adjust to see what the inflation contributions are through different categories. And this is amazing because this is giving you like real-time updates, which covers all kinds of dimensions that go above and beyond what the Bureau of Labor and Statistics actually covers in their CPI calculations. They even have a personal inflation calculator where you can calculate how much you spend relative to what you earn on different kinds of areas of your budget, and you can see exactly how inflation has effectively cut your pay. And I'll be sure to post this link in the video description so you can mess around with it. But this is pretty insane, right? So you can like describe your demographic that you are and then go through and enter in all the categories. And yeah, it's pretty incredible that you can figure that out on this website. So if you want to know the methodology behind how they collect all this data, I have a US methodology explanation PDF, and I'll go ahead and link to that also in the video description. Basically, Truflation's indices are based on market price data collected from over 30 different data sources, comprising over 13 million data points to deliver essential business intelligence around inflation and its underlying components. They use this data to provide daily transparent real-time inflation indices and other economic metrics to financial products and applications through the Truflation Index, inflation drivers, marketplace, dashboard, and APIs. So I'll let you read through this on your own because I don't want to make this video way too long. It's probably already going to be long as it is, but this is just goes through very transparently, tells you exactly what goes into forming their inflation measurements. And just to show you, they're working on modernizing how inflation is measured, and you can only imagine how this could impact economies throughout the world to get a true idea of what the inflation really is versus what the governments are reporting to you. And you don't have to sit and wait for the government to cook the books and tell you exactly what the inflation is. This will tell you what it is in a more unbiased way, with speed and frequency, robust and balanced data, and census level depth. Look at this. They divide everything up here. To construct the Truflation Indexes, they have to understand how people really spend money. And what's nice is every category here has a consistent definition, like I said, across all markets. And they determine this relative importance by triangulating data from different kinds of sources: census surveys, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, Nielsen IQ, and financial institutions. I'm sure you're familiar with those. They're weighting all these to get a more comprehensive and accurate idea of what inflation really is and how it's really affecting people. So food and housing, and we know people spend the most money on that, and transportation with gas prices being insane. Healthcare, I'm surprised it's only 8.6%, but everything is just going up, right? And then the stuff that's a little bit cheaper, communication, education, alcohol, and tobacco. So all of these are weighted in such a way to give a more true measure of actual inflation. And look at who they collaborate with: JD Power, Zillow, Trulia, CarGurus, AAA, Opus, EIA, and Statista. I've heard of most of these companies. You probably have too. And this gives them access to just to millions of data points, as opposed to less than 100,000 used by the older indices. They've got a robust methodology for making sure that their data is accurate and robust. They have a rigorous initial screening. So once data enters their sandbox, it goes through 3 validation checks: data presence for historical comparisons, consistency, and integrity. And then even after that, it goes through yet another automated daily check to make sure that the data collected is within specified confidence intervals of acceptable measurements. There's a secured processing window. So Truflation ensures accuracy by locking data for 24 hours before processing. And there are, of course, going to be errors, and that data will remain in the sandbox, and it's going to be scrutinized and verified with the data provider. And if necessary, they'll use interim data until they're able to clear that data. So they're looking for the most honest data possible. They are also offering RWA indexes. And so you things like the S&P, Dow Jones, MSCI, FTSE, NASDAQ. They are going to introduce a decentralized alternative, so you don't have to rely on centralized solutions to get data from these index providers. And this provides a sense of security and trustworthiness that otherwise may not exist. And I wanted to read this to you from their blog because I think it's a really good summary of the RWA aspect of Truflation. Empowered by Coinbase and Chainlink, Truflation stands as the foremost definitive or definite reference point, or DRP, for economic veracity, driving the tokenization of real-world assets through its independent, transparent, and real-time financial data. With a comprehensive index tracking over 13 million items, Truflation offers censorship-resistant data infrastructure through the Truflation Stream Network, fueling systematic advancements in the DeFi economy. And so I really like this last couple sentences here. This empowers decentralized applications such as DEXs to unlock boundless markets, for anything from predicting orange juice and uranium prices to facilitating Bitcoin-denominated oil, gas, and corn markets. I mean, this is a game changer for DeFi. This is like the next iteration of Chainlink. If you love Chainlink, you'll love Truflation, because to me, it just builds upon the brilliance of Chainlink. They've got a nice and active GitHub, which is, again, they're all about transparency, and a lot of this stuff has been updated very recently. They've got quite an active community in their Discord, as you can see. They have AMAs, general stuff. They've got developer stuff. They've got just a general community. People, of course, asking about price, because it's all people care about. But you can get into the weeds with this and really learn a lot about Truflation through their community links. They're also on YouTube, so you can check them out. I'll try to put a link in the video description to their YouTube channel. They got tons of content on here. Tons and tons of content. The CEO of Truflation is Stephen Rust, and he is the founder of Truflation, Nuon Finance. He's the former CEO of Bitcoin.com, and he is also the host of a podcast called Uncut. So I'll put a link to his Twitter as well, and you can check out some of his cool content on here as well. He's the CEO of Laguna Labs. I believe is the parent company of Truflation, and Nuon. So just, you can check this out as well. Laguna Wallet. I don't really know a lot about Laguna, but I'll let you check it out if you want to learn a little bit more about it. And then I'll show you his LinkedIn. So this is his LinkedIn. He has about 7,000 followers, over 500 connections, and you can tell he's pretty active on here. Founder of Truflation from November 2021 to present, so about 2.5 years. Founder of Nuon Finance, May 2022 to present. Co-founder of Trusted Known Innovative Validator Network for about 3 years. CEO of Laguna DeFi for about 3 years. And Blockchain and Climate Institute Emissions Management and Trading Council. He's got quite a bit of education behind him, as you can see here. And some really good, really detailed endorsements. So you can read through these endorsements. I'll go ahead and try to link this also in the video description. He also has his own YouTube channel, and you can check this out. Check out some of these videos. He had Raul Paul recently on there. So you can learn a lot about the CEO of this company, which is great. I love transparency like this. It makes me feel a lot more reassured about investing in something. So what about the TRUF token? I mean, that's why you're here, right? I wanted to teach you about Truflation so you at least know what it is you'd be investing in. So the TRUF token just came out yesterday as of the making of this video, and it is primarily intended for governance of Truflation's ecosystem. And I'm going to get into the tokenomics in detail in a little bit, but basically I want to read to you this paragraph that explains it in a really succinct way. So it serves as the economic foundation for Truflation's ecosystem, including the Truflation Stream Network, designed to integrate real-time economic data into decentralized finance applications. And it's an ERC20 token, and which is not surprising considering the association with Chainlink. It facilitates data provider, node operation, data provision, data consumption, and governance. So token holders actively participate in governance by staking and locking their tokens for designated periods. And when they do that, they earn veTRUF, or vested truth in return, which will enable them to have voting rights. Now, it's a little bit difficult when a token is a day old to find accurate information on CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap is known for providing a lot of inaccurate information, but they claim that the market cap right now is about 571 million. I'm not sure if that's accurate. I do know the max supply is 1 billion TRUF. There are not 935 million of them currently in circulation. I can tell you that for sure. They're claiming the FDV is about 654 million. That may actually be somewhat accurate. I will go through the tokenomics in the light paper. But I wanted to tell you where you can buy Truflation. So if you're not in the US, you can buy it on Gate.io, KuCoin, and MXC. If you are in the US, then you're stuck with Uniswap. Now, Uniswap's gas fees have come down quite a bit. So at least the Ethereum gas fees, I haven't struggled with them too much in the past day or two compared to maybe last week. Last week they were insanely high. So these are your only options for now. I would imagine that Truflation will get a Coinbase listing given its association with Coinbase. I mean, if you think of a similar RWA play, Ondo, they were on Coinbase very quickly. So I would be surprised if Truflation didn't wind up on Coinbase in the relatively soon. Their D.Fi score is okay at 65. There are some things here that you should be aware of. And D.Fi does not always give the most accurate breakdown of things. And I'm not just saying that because I own the token. But at the same time, you should take what you see here seriously and do your own research. Read through the light paper yourself. I'll link you to it in the video description. So they claim there is a rug pull risk because most of the token's liquidity is not locked. And you can see that there are some wallets that have a fairly large amount of TRUF tokens, and I would imagine from reading through the light paper that these are some of the early adopters and venture capitalists, which I'm not crazy about personally, right? These are things that I'm generally not that crazy about, and you should watch out for these kind of events. It's crypto, anything can happen. Liquidity drain are algorithms identified as sudden and massive withdrawal from the liquidity pool, which may impact the ability to sell the token. Other than that, there's really nothing else that is of concern. You can see the top 10 holders. Some of these are going to be exchange wallets, but if you come down here, there are some wallets with a substantial percentage, 1.4%, 1.36. Nothing out of the ordinary. I'm not sure as to the identity of these wallets, but I imagine that these are exchange wallets, most likely holding this large of a percentage of the supply. And you can see in the light paper how the tokenomics are broken down. So yes, I am aware that there are some risks in holding this token, but seeing the close association with Coinbase and Chainlink and all the other companies that they're associated with, I am cautiously optimistic. That's what I would say. The Truflation network, it uses a Byzantine fault-tolerant replicated state machine consensus mechanisms to ensure that if one point fails, that the network can still run efficiently and effectively. They do prioritize efficiency and data security. So you can take a look at the graph here. Again, I'll post a link to this in the video description. Here's a diagram explaining the data flow from the data providers to the stream network and to the storage. And you can see kind of how this seamlessly flows. Here's something unique about the data providers for Truflation, which is traditional decentralized Oracle networks, DONs, demonstrate that distributing the sourcing of information from multiple data providers and aggregating them into a single report or data point eliminates centralized points of failure, compromise or tampering, because you have more sources to draw from. However, the TSN is established to also leverage private, niche, or entirely custom data sets that may not even be available from various data sources. And to enable access to this data while maintaining the ethos of decentralization, the approach is to uphold verifiability from the point of data sourcing to its utility and finalized state within the TSN. And then the governance, which is provided by the TRUF token, allows for oversight. It's like an extra layer of oversight over the data that's coming in and being aggregated. And they don't accept just any data. The data has to prove that it has value and it's reliable. What's the primary purpose and what's its function? What's the value correlation? Is the entity's data validity and accuracy directly correlated with the value of the service? Capitalization and incentives. Is the entity sufficiently capitalized so that the financial incentive for maintaining data accuracy surpasses the temptation to falsify it? Okay, because we need, data validity is only as accurate as the trustworthiness of its provider. And data providers have an incentive to be honest and transparent. They have to stake an arbitrary amount of TRUF tokens in the governance portal, and they'll receive veTRUF tokens, allowing them to participate in the governance of the protocol. And you've seen a lot of, Aerodrome and Velodrome have a VE Aero, VE Velo. There's a lot of chains now that use this staking mechanism for fair and transparent governance. Their typical data consumers are institutions, companies, layer 1 and layer 2 blockchains, DeFi products, and traders. And they need to have data during all kinds of different periods of time, whether it's on chain or off chain, all different times of the day, different kinds of environments. And their TSN architecture allows them to basically support this data access in the most efficient way possible. And you can see kind of a sequence of events that takes place when somebody tries to place a request to the TSN. Their data is cryptographically secure. As you can see here, this is very important to them. Provenance and integrity proofs anchored in the elliptic curve digital signature algorithm, authenticity proofs, quality control measures, data presence, historical data comparison, current data comparison, data deviation, authenticity, and reputation. So the more accurate the data provider is, the higher the reputation score becomes. So what about the TRUF token? As I mentioned earlier, holders of this token can participate in Truflation governance by staking and locking their tokens for certain periods of time, and they will receive veTRUF tokens, or vested TRUF tokens, that will grant them voting rights in different kinds of protocol decision-making activities. So it's a DAO. This could be node rewards, data category selections, geographical expansion, new technology strategies. So they will have a say in how Truflation expands and changes and adapts to the changing environments and needs. For a TSN node operator to go live and be able to earn fees on the data they facilitate or provide, their address has to be whitelisted in Truflation protocol, and this can only happen once they've staked TRUF tokens. And so again, once the TRUF tokens are staked, the participant is eligible to receive veTRUF tokens, and this will depend on how many were staked and the length of the lockup period. Just like Aerodrome, just like Velodrome, and we've seen how successful that has been for those AMM's growths. This is not an AMM. This is a DeFi play, but still, it's a similar kind of model. It's proven to be successful. Okay, so again, the TRUF token serves three primary purposes: data provider node operation, data provision, and data consumption. So the users of Truflation will actually pay TRUF tokens to access data on the network. And again, this is all cyclical. The rewards power the people who are providing the data and contributors among the network. And governance is for Vote-Escrow vested TRUF tokens, so veTRUF. So stands for Vote-Escrow. In my head, I think vested for some reason, but technically it's Vote-Escrow. And Vote-Escrow TRUF tokens grant holders voting rights in various protocol decision-making proposals. So we've already talked about this. Let's get into the tokenomics. Okay, so the token supply is at 1 billion tokens at launch, and they did give quite a few incentives to investors and early contributors, venture capitalists, the team and protocol developers, ecosystem and growth and advisors. And so 60% of the tokens go to the ecosystem, 25% investors, 13% team and recruitment, and 2% advisors. And so you can see here the different breakdowns. The investors got 25% of the allocation. That kind of sucks, but this is pretty common for projects of this scope and size. Long-term and early backers of the network to help bootstrap growth. And so the vesting schedule is 5% at TGE, then daily linear over 24 months, and we'll get into the vesting schedule below. I like that they're at least transparent about this. It's easy to find in their light paper. Team and recruitment, 13% tokens reserved for the core development team. There's a 6-month cliff, and then daily linear over 48 months. So 6 months from now, this would be something to kind of think about. 2% to advisors, 12-month cliff. So this is a fairly high allocation to the early backers in the team and advisors. I mean, the team and advisors, that's not so high, but all this together is 40%. It's a little bit of a red flag for me personally. And normally something like this would turn me off to a project, but taken in the greater context of everything that this project is contributing, the overall structure of their DAO, I actually feel like I can overlook this, although cautiously, right? I need to overlook it cautiously, meaning that I am open-minded to holding a substantial amount of money in this project, but not at the expense of venture capitalists or team members dumping on me. But based on the CEO's track record, based on everything that I've kind of uncovered about the project and its structure and function, I don't necessarily see that, being a major concern right now. It could be. So it's something to keep in mind. 60% ecosystem and community. So this is, the kind of stuff that powers the ecosystem and community involvement, like you and me, people who are involved in investing in TRUF. The vesting schedule is over 8 years. Okay, so at launch there are going to be, so as of right now, about 94 million of the total supply circulating. So that is quite a bit out of their, 94 million, not 94 billion. 94 million out of a 1 billion total. So there is quite a bit of inflation on the horizon. And as you know, I am not a fan of inflation. I don't like it, but we are in a bull market. So again, this is something to watch and monitor very closely. So along with our aim of data decentralization, TRUF's ecosystem pools will be managed and led by the governance token holders. That's a good thing. By empowering governance, token holders oversee the ecosystem pools, ensuring direction and allocation of resources are guided by the collective wisdoms and interests of the community while promoting transparency, fairness, and resilience within the ecosystem. Aerodrome and Velodrome, two projects that I'm very bullish on in the base ecosystem, they have similar tokenomics, not exactly the same, but similar, and they've done just fine. Staking. So for a TSN node operator to go live and be able to earn fees, the address has to be whitelisted on the protocol, and it can only be whitelisted again after they've staked. This is a little bit repetitive, but this is something interesting to understand here. So because the data streams are not necessarily merged with other data streams, code logic alone cannot tell if data provided is bad or good. It has to be looked over. So a nuanced approach is necessary. So governance holders will look over data, and if they feel like the data is being reported in an inaccurate way or being manipulated to benefit the provider or to benefit some third party, they can take a strike against that and submit a fraud report. Okay, so that's something that I feel is a good feature of the staking. They're working on a bridge between Ethereum and Arbitrum, so stay tuned for that. They have a forum where users can submit topics, anything as you can see here. And I found that the team is very responsive and usually in a very detailed kind of way to concerns raised within the forum. So how does the chart look? Well, folks, I am on a 5-minute chart because there's so little data, right? I watched this candle form last night with my snake pit. We all sat around together watching this candle going, oh, we're not buying that. Okay, because this is like all the early holders and boom, boom, boom. I don't even know how people were buying this, and then this huge sell-off, and then we got this double bottom, and now we're flagging. So, keep in mind that I have very, very little data to work with. The price right now is around 64 cents. I think my cost basis is right around that, maybe just a little bit higher. I tried to buy down here, but I couldn't because there wasn't sufficient liquidity on Uniswap. I went to bed, woke up, and I think I made my first buys like up in this region around 67 cents. Of course, I bought the top, right? And then I bought a little bit more somewhere in here. So I think my cost basis is probably around 66 cents. And honestly, I'm planning on holding this project for a while and keeping a close watch on it as we get close to that 6-month period where some of the tokens are going to be unlocked, as I showed you in the token investing schedule. But 6 months from now is a long time. That's October. A lot can happen between now and then. So this looks like a bullish formation. This looks like a bull flag on a very short time frame, right? So there's really not a lot of TA that I can actually do on this. I pulled up the weighted logarithmic Bollinger Bands, but I mean, I can do TA on low time frames, but what kind of trend are we talking about? If you're going to invest in this project, you need to be aware of the risks. And, I like that it put in this double bottom, and this is a bull flag. I mean, this is a flag. It's bullish. The Bollinger Bands are squeezing. I'm anticipating a very big move coming that I think will most likely be to the upside, not to the downside. Doesn't mean it can't go to the downside, okay? I hold this token. Of course I want it to go up. But yeah, there's, like I said, there's really not a lot of TA I can do except to just show you this chart and say it looks good. This did not look like a good place to buy, and I feel sorry for anybody who somehow managed to buy at these extremely high prices, which are unironically not that much higher than where we are now. So I think there's a pretty good chance we take out this high once this consolidation phase is over and we move to a higher level. So how often do you get to watch a YouTube video on a really, really freaking amazing project that to me has some of the, technical wonder of something like Chainlink that's only a freaking day old. So I am very bullish on this project. I was bullish on it last night when I heard about it. I didn't get a chance to do a deep dive until today. It was one of those buy now, ask questions later kind of things. I didn't buy that much last night. I bought very little. Actually, I didn't buy any last night. I bought this past morning. I bought my first allocation. It was a small amount. But then I did more research on it, and it's sort of my buy now, ask questions later, just in case it goes up, but do research later. And I did my research on this project, and I was just like, I fell in love with it. I'm just like, oh my goodness, this thing is a game changer, because the kind of implications it could have for people taking charge of their own financial health by understanding how their pay is being affected by inflation and not just listening to what the feds tell them. That is so empowering. And to have the data transparency that's been come to be the industry standard with Chainlink, the OG Oracle, and that following in the same footsteps of Chainlink, and having a CEO who's top notch, a great team, what more could you ask for? I am super bullish on this project. I'm a little concerned about some of the tokenomics. I remember sitting out Aerodrome because of that, and then Aerodrome did a 25x on me, and I never got into the project. I did the same freaking thing with Velodrome. Finally, bought some Velodrome recently. I'm just very stubborn with those kind of tokenomics, but I'm learning to take a bigger picture look of things and not just focus in on tokenomics only. So yes, I recommend this project personally. Check it out. Even if you're not going to invest in the token, use their tools. And I'll have links to everything that you need in the video description below. Just as a reminder, please make sure if you are going to buy this, that you use the right smart contract, which is here on CoinMarketCap. Do not, if you type in TRUF, it should work, but there, of course, on Uniswap, there's going to be all kinds of imitators and scams. So just make sure that the smart contract address is correct if you do buy this. And I'd just like to encourage you to join our free Telegram group, the Snake Pit. We have about 180 members there now. I've only been doing this YouTube channel for about 2.5 months. I think I'm coming up on 3 months pretty soon. And we've grown really, really, really rapidly. So every day in there, I have an alerts channel. It's all free. I do crypto news. I'll update you on the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, my market thoughts, technical analysis of various altcoins. And we have a really friendly and intelligent community. In fact, one of my community members is the one who discovered this token. And I am just really happy that they did, because I would have never even known about it if they hadn't mentioned it in our Telegram group. So I'm learning just as much from them as they learn from me, and we're just very, very close and tight-knit small community of like-minded individuals. So thank you for joining me in the crypto simulation today. I'm the Gaussian Snake. And please like, subscribe, comment on my video. It helps get it out there, and share and spread this video with any groups that you feel like doing that with. And just as a reminder, nothing in this video is intended to be financial advice. You must make your own decisions. Check out all the links that I post, do the research yourself, and make your own mind up about what you want to do with this token. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time in the crypto simulation.